Hey. I got my mic back, and I got a new phone, and my hair's longer, and it's been a while, and so much has happened. I describe this to people as, I feel like I've lived an exponential amount of lives in the past 3-4 months. And it has been the most overwhelming and exhausting thing I think I have ever been through. But also at the same time, I've handled it so fucking well. Like, not to toot my own horn, but I've handled it really damn well. And that's kind of nuts. Yeah. And I guess when I say that I've experienced an exponential amount of lives, I am more specifically alluding to the fact that I've experienced more grief in the past 4 months than I think I've ever experienced collectively throughout my life. I couldn't even begin to start to name off things because it's just been so much, and I wanted be specific though and say that in my eyes, in my belief, in the things that I've experienced and the conclusions that I've come to living life the way I have, I want to emphasize that I don't believe that grief and death are inherently bad or negative or, disciplinary. I think that death, specifically in conjunction with grief, is just a change, the closing of a chapter, the starting fresh, the rebirth of something new. And if you can kind of twist your perspective and think of things like that, life becomes a lot more easy to deal with. Let me tell you. And in kind of jumping off that idea, I've just come to realize that so many of the things we experience and put names to are quite literally just different sides of the same coin. And that has also brought a lot of peace to it. I've been dealing with some hardships with my family and some hardships with my friends and some hardships with my career/work life, and it's all kind of hit at the same exact time, and that's been really stressful, to say the least. But also at the same time, I kind of think back to, the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again without changing anything, expecting different results. Girl, be for real. And it's I've been trying to force this narrative for so long, and someone recently taught me about this idea of soul contracts, and I'm like, you know what? As much as my soul wants to explain this, explain my narrative and explain my empathy and reasonings and beliefs to other souls, I just need to accept that sometimes those other souls are quite literally not, they are not consenting to having those conversations in this life. Maybe in the next life, maybe, further down the line, but in this present moment, my soul can't force another soul to behave in a way in which is on the same frequency as mine, And that has been a fucking wake-up call. That's been a really, really insane wake-up call to have to kind of come to terms with and such. But we're working through it. We're processing it. We're working through it. And like, I can't entirely tell if I am comfortable with that yet. Like, there's been so much emotion and so much like energetic charge that has required my attention over the past 4 months. And so to some level, I'm completely numb to it. Like, I'm completely numb to it now, and I really don't feel anything. But then I step back and I'm like, wait, though, that's just me being grounded, right? Like, having a certain level of stability after, like, experiencing one punch after another. That's what stability and healthy communication and growth and healing looks like, right? Right. And it's like we can't get to that point unless we experience death and experience change and experience rebirth. And that's fucking beautiful, right? That's fucking beautiful. I was talking with some people and having conversations in my death cafe recently, and that's like a conclusion we came to, that death is kindness, babe. Death is kindness. Think about how joyful and kind and warm and gentle and loving people become in the presence of death and in the presence of grief. And, you know, whatever you believe in, no matter what religion you follow or path guides you, like, there's this overarching theme that, like, life and living is suffering. It's worth living, but it's also suffering. And so death is the ultimate kindness. It manifests kindness. It acts as a vessel for kindness. It's just such a beautiful thing to understand. And so I don't know where I was going with that, but death is kindness. And also, empathy is education. And this is a conclusion that I have come to through lots of conversations with people, lots of like mind mapping and exploration while under the influence. And empathy is education and death is kindness. And with those two ideas, like, you really, everything comes back to those two ideas. Really, truly, everything does. And when you, like, see those building blocks and take it down to that, like, most foundational level, it makes coping and getting through life so much fucking easier. So much easier. And I kind of noticed this when I started really engaging in conversation with other people outside of Death Cafe about Death Cafe. And if you don't know what a Death Cafe is, it's essentially, they happen all over the world, and it's essentially a place and a time where strangers gather. There's no schedule, there's no agenda, but you just talk about death and dying and all of the nuances that come with that, whether it be philosophical, physical, kind of material, legal, like anything goes, essentially. And when I would bring up Death Cafe to others outside of it, their reactions were really telling and made me understand individuals in a way in which I never really could before. Because the people that react negatively, defensively, in kind of like a intolerant kind of, oh my God, that's a jarring statement to make kind of way, were the same people that were just generally intolerant in life. People who generally, win about life with a lack of empathy, people who do not, or at least don't present in a way in which they are excited to learn. And it worked just as consistently the other way around. Those people who I would talk about Death Cafe to, who were like excited or engaged, or at the very minimum just like curious to learn more, those are the people that like understand me and like care to listen about me. Those are the people that, you know, just genuinely lead their life with love, light, kindness, happiness, empathy, all the good things, right? And so that really solidified in my head is like how you go about, because someone at Death Cafe said one time that like how you engage with and talk about death as a living person is how you, 1, view yourself, 2, view the world, and 3, how you view the process of dying. And so those people just really have a disconnect with me. Those people being the ones who are like resentful towards the idea of Death Cafe, or just like talking about the idea of death in general, right? And yeah, I've just had a lot of kind of epiphanies, like clicking moments in my head between conversation, Death Cafe, my experience with cannabis. And, you know, I don't want to like sit here and be the person that's like, you know, fuck authority, but honestly, Jesus Christ, fuck authority at this point. There is, think about, how do I want to put this? The ones who, because I'll tell you this as a blanket statement. Using cannabis, I have yet to use like psychedelics or anything, but using cannabis has made me learn so much about myself, about society as a whole, and about kind of philosophical, intellectual ideas, right? So the people who stigmatize those acts being using of cannabis, using of drugs, are the ones that are like actively trying to withhold information and education from individuals, right? And think about it. Those people are also, those institutions, those whatever, are the same ones that lack empathy. Those are the ones trying to control women's bodies. Those are the ones that are trying to discriminate against people of color. You know, you could fucking name a whole laundry list of things, right? Those people who are trying to distract us enough so that we can't access a certain type of education are the same ones that are apathetic. Empathy is education, bestie. Empathy is education, and death is kindness. I will die on those hills. I will die on them. I really, truly will. And I just, wrapping up this year has just felt so, like I've never wrapped up a year in November, December, literally ready to like punch through a wall and like take over. I don't necessarily know what that takeover is, but I've never wrapped up my year feeling so empowered. And I think it's because I went into 2024 with very clear intentions for myself. I want to also mention that I finished my journal today that I've had since like 2019, I think, just kind of sporadically writing here and there. But this year was the first year that I set guiding words for myself. And my words were purge, repose, and transparency, I believe. Let me just double check on that one. Purge, transparency, and repose. And I had some small goals to go along with that, but having guiding words really let me kind of center myself in a way that was incredibly profound. And I'm incredibly excited to go into 2025 doing the same exact thing. I am ready for a rebirth. Grief is here. Death is here. I'm ready. I'm prepared. Bring it on, bitch. Bring it on, bitch. You literally... There's nothing more I could be dealt. Well, okay, I don't want to jinx anything. But there's not quite much more that I could be dealt in 2025 that would throw me for a loop as much as I was thrown for a loop in 2024. I'll just say that. And like, now that I've grasped those little nuggets. Death is kindness. Empathy is education. I will be a fucking changed person in 2025. I'm planning on traveling in 2025. I'm planning on going back to school in 2025. I'm ready, bitch. And I hope you are too, because we're in it for the ride, and the revolution is coming, whether that's physical or mental or whatever. You have the power. It's inside of you. Don't listen to the people that try to tear you down, as hard as that may sound and as cliche as that may sound. You know what's best for you. You are the only one that will be with you for the entirety of the rest of your life. Do what you think is best. Do what you know is best. And stay safe out there. I love you so deeply from the bottom of my heart. It kills me. It really kills me. And we're gonna fucking take 2025 by the throat and kick some motherfucking ass. Okay? Okay. I love y'all. That was probably really loud. Love y'all.